Hi everyone. Today we're going to be reviewing the reflection essay template, which is attached to the Management 105 Unit 5 reflection essay assignment. This template is a pretty standard APA 7th edition format. You'll see that we have a title page, a body, and we have a reference page. I do advise all of you to use this reflection essay template to write your first paper assignment in our course. This is a really great way to practice APA format, and it also will prepare you to write future essays. So we're going to start off by reviewing the title page. Now the title page, you'll see there is a header and a number. The title page is always going to have a different header than the rest of your paper. I'm going to show you how to do both of these things, even if you are using the template to write your paper. You'll see at the top of the paper in the left-hand corner, it says running head here. So you will be leaving the words running head. Where it says running head here, you are going to put your title of your paper. This could either be a shortened version of the title, or it can be the full title if it's short enough to include. This running head is here to organize your paper and easily identify your work. Especially if you were to print out your work, this will show that this is your title page. This is also commonly used in academic writing. So now that we understand what running head means, we're going to insert our header. The template already provided a header and a page number for us, but it's important to know where all these tools are for future assignments. So what we're going to do to change the header, we're going to go to the Insert tab. And once we click on the Insert tab, you're going to see an option on the right side, top right side, you'll see Header and Footer. We're going to click on Header. You're going to see a bunch of options that pop up for you, but we're going to use blank for right now. Now you see that my header was replaced. Now that we have our header attached to the paper, you're going to see a new tab form at the top of the page. The tab says Header and Footer. This is where you'll see a bunch of different options to edit your header and to add in other options such as the page number. You can see page number next to header and footer in the top of the left-hand side. When you click on page number, you're going to see options for position and alignment. Just click OK. The number will already be where you want it to be for the APA format. After you click OK, you will see that the number 1 is now in the right top corner of the page. Where it says type here, you'll be able to type in running head. You'll be able to put in whatever you want, but be sure to click on your header and footer. Different first page. You'll see that at the top of my screen. This is very important. You want to make sure that you have a different first page than the rest of your assignment. So that is the option right there. If you unclick it, then everything will be the same on the page. So be sure to put in different first page. For the rest of the paper, you'll just have to put the header as the title. And you'll see that as we scroll down. Enter running head here. The rest of the page will be the same as each other. The only page that will be any different is the first page. Let's move on to the rest of the title page now. You'll see for the title we have assignment, name, instructor, Management 105 Principles of Management, and post-university. For the assignment, you can write in Unit 5 assignment, you can write Unit 5 assignment all fired up. Either one is fine. For this, I'm just going to leave Unit 5 assignment. We're going to put in a name. I'm going to add John Smith, but this will be your first and last name. The name of your instructor. So for this assignment, you'll be putting my name. You can write Professor Regano, Instructor Regano. Either one's fine. We'll leave Management 105 Principles of Management as is, and then we'll leave Post-University how it is as well. Now moving on to the body of our paper. You will see at the top of the page it says heading. Here you can put in the title of your paper. For this, I'm putting in, again, the Unit 5 assignment. What you put as your heading on this page is going to be your header as well. So where it says enter running head text here, you're going to put in the heading of your paper. So this heading will be the same for your running head as well, like I was saying before. So I'm going to put that same exact heading where it says running head here. The only difference is it's going to say running head and then the running head of your paper. This is a little long where it says Unit 5 assignment all fired up. So you could even just put Unit 5 assignment as the running head. Now moving back to the body of the paper, you'll see that we have some information about the introduction, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion. Your paper will have an introduction, and this introduction pretty much summarizes everything that you're going to be discussing in your paper. So you'll talk about the main idea, your supporting details, and even your conclusion. This is like a summary or an intro to your paper. After you write your introduction, you're going to move on to the body of your paper. The body can have 3 to 4 paragraphs, and it's going to touch upon your supporting details and the main idea of your paper. You'll see within the body paragraph that it says you can use subheadings if you wish, but it's not required. Subheadings are used to break up a paper into sections, and they show what each section is about. So for the introduction, I would write introduction as my subheading. And for the body, which I'm going to just write body for now, but you can make the subheading whatever your main idea or your topic is for that paragraph. So if I was writing about what motivates me for this assignment, I could make my subheading what motivates me. Or let's say I was writing about SWOT analysis. I could make that paragraph subheading SWOT analysis. This is just a way to keep your paper organized. Moving along, we're going to head to the conclusion. Again, like I was saying before, similar to how we summarize what's happening in the paper in the introduction, we summarize in our conclusion. The conclusion is going to talk about what we discussed. It's one fully formed paragraph at minimum, but we're pretty much just closing out our paper here, making sure that the reader understood all of our key supporting details and our main point. So at the end of this paragraph, you'll see make sure you have at least one in-text citation per reference in the reference list. I'm going to review in-text citations with you, and I understand that for many of you, references and citing has been confusing, but I promise with practice, it'll become so much easier. We're going to first review a direct quote. A direct quote is when you take another author's words and put it into your work. You're not changing anything about what the author said. You are taking the exact sentence or a couple of sentences and putting it into your work. We have to make sure that we cite their work, because if we do not, then that is called plagiarism. We cannot take credit for another author's work. So when we are using in-text citations, we have direct quoting, which is what I've done right here. As you see, I took some work from our rubric for the Unit 5 assignment, and I used it as a direct quote. And I'm going to pretend that it is work I took from one of the authors in our reference list down below. How we cite this work is we use the author's last name and the year that the work was published. So for this first author, his last name is Sandrowski, and the year that he published work was in 2014. I'm going to use that and put it at the end of my sentence as my citation. Additionally, there is another way that we can use the author's work, and that is called paraphrasing. I first showed you direct quoting, which is taking the author's work word for word and using it. But then we have paraphrasing, which is taking another author's work and putting it into your own words. You're finding information from another source and you're using the information you gathered from that source. So you do still need to cite this work. And what I did here, I wrote a paraphrased version of the quote above. I put it into my own words, and it's still fairly similar to the quote. It shows I got my information from that quote. So I'm still going to give the author credit, of course. I'm still going to cite for this work. And the same citing goes for this. It's going to be the author's last name and the year that the work was published. Now, of course, there are many different types of references. We're going to move on to the reference page next, but I don't want any of you to feel overwhelmed or confused. This is stuff that you are going to work on throughout your college education. And before you know it, you are going to be pros at this. Of course, if you have more specific questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out to me. There are so many resources within our course that provide information on different types of references, whether it's for a book, for a magazine, for a specific chapter. That is all information that we have within this course. So now we're going to move on to the reference page. And in the reference page right now, we have 3 different authors. We have 3 different references here. And it looks like, or from the looks of this right now, where we see retrieved from in each reference, it looks like these all came from articles. You're also going to notice that the authors are listed in alphabetical order. When we write references, we always want to make sure that our authors are in alphabetical order. So we see starting at the top with C, we have Sandrowski. Now, each of these references also have the date to the day. So we have the full date of when the articles were published. Additionally, we have the name of each article, and we have retrieved from, and then the link in which the article came from. These are very, very simple references. These are very basic. We have the author's last name and first initial, we have the full date, the title of the article, and then we have where the article was retrieved from. Of course, there are other references that are difficult. There are references that may have more than one author. There are references that we may get from using a specific chapter or a specific page. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by this information at all. I understand how confusing that the references can become, but I promise, again, like I said earlier, practice. Practice will make it so much easier. Use the reference resources. There is a whole list of how to cite different references that is within the APA 7th edition tab in our course. For this assignment, this specific assignment, the Unit 5 reflection essay, if you use an outside resource, if you use information that is taken from another author, this is the perfect time to work on a reference page. You're not required to have a reference within this assignment, but it will be a really great way to practice if you'd like to. I know that this information was very basic. I'm sure many of you have an understanding of this, but of course, I'm here to answer any of your questions. So don't be afraid to reach out and shoot me an email or a text. Use the SD Instructor Forum. I want the best for all of you, and I know that you will all become pros at APA format. I am not worried. It may seem hard now, but I believe in all of you, and I'm confident that you guys are going to do great.